Today's agenda is about the calendars, how to set them up, and what are the different types of calendars that are available within the system, and when and why should you opt for them. Hey everyone. Um, all right then. I guess we should get started. So we have Owen on the call as well with us. He is my colleague, and he'll be leading the call regarding the calendars.
Hello, everyone. Thank y'all for coming. All right. So as Mustafa said before, we are going to be going over how to set up calendars and making appointments within the application that OverPower Marketing provides. So first things off, you want to be logged in to the account that you're going to be using. Go into your specified sub-account, whichever company you are in. Then what you want to do is go into settings. Next, go into calendars. And here is where you set things up. First things first, you're usually not going to have anything here. So to start things off, you would want to create a calendar. Now, what a calendar does is basically it's a user-specific calendar where you can assign certain employees to a calendar where you may want them to work on a specific service, such as say you run a hair salon. Well, you want your certain employees to work on client appointments. So, say a client wants to come in for get their nails done or whatever, you assign certain employees to this calendar, and only those employees assigned to that calendar can view those appointments. And here we have the scheduling types. First off is the service calendar. Like I said before, so you have like nail salon, hair salon, plumbing, all that. If you provide a certain service that requires an appointment, you can create this calendar and assign certain users or certain employees to them, and only those employees will be able to see that calendar. Next, we have simple calendars. Say, for example, you want to assign a meeting or Google Meet, Zoom meeting, any of that, you would use the simple calendar. Round robin is very unique, a little complex at first, but it is also extremely helpful. Say, for example, you have a team of sales reps and a client wants to book an appointment. This calendar event will go to the next available employee, basically passes off the workload. If a certain employee is not available, it will just go to the next available employee. Class booking. This is for assigning employees to events such as a webinar or a reoccurring event. And collective booking is a calendar event where all employees assigned must be available and within their work time or whatever. And you can set that up in My Staff. And we have a bunch of employees, but we can use me as an example. Go to team management, scroll down, edit, and then go to user availability. Here you can change the times that that person works. So right now I am 8 a.m. to 4:30. Then once you have that set up, you can go to the calendar that you want to make, set up, and this will be sent to the employee during their work hours. Now you notice that I went into round robin. What you can do is assign multiple employees, like so, that are currently on your staff. You can view who is on your staff by going to My Staff in your settings and adding employees and all the such. Then you can make a custom URL for the meeting if there is one, how long the meeting should be, when it'll be available or when it's assigned, and add accept payments. This is mainly for webinars and such, so you do not need to normally worry about that. And let's go further in. and make a very unique custom URL. So my calendar. Oh, whoops. You also have to name it. So then you can go into advanced settings, add a calendar logo just to signify, give a simple visual aid as to what the meeting is about, add a description to it, assign groups. We will talk about calendar groups later with Mustafa, event color, all that. And there we go. We have our meeting set up. So now what we want to do is go back, leave settings, go into calendars. And here we can set up appointments within the calendar that we just made. So here we have round robin meet test, what we just made. And then make the appointment title. Sure, we'll use meet with Bob. Team member that's going to be assigned to me. Next available time, you can fill this in however you need. And book appointment. Oops. Select the content, of course. And book appointment. Now we should be able to see. I forgot to see what time it was that we set it for. February 27th. And we should be able to see it once we refresh the page. It's not showing up. Well, what would normally happen is it would show up on the date that we put it on and give you all the details and all that you need to know for the employee specified. And that's how you basically set up a calendar and set up your appointment for said calendar. And I would like to pass it off to Mustafa as he will explain groups, service menu, rooms, and equipments, and what all those features mean within the calendar settings.
All right, so I'll take it over from Govind. So when we talk about calendars, we need to understand what the purpose is of ours. Why are we setting up a calendar and what's it for? So in the categories of the calendars we have first of all the service calendar, which is a new type of service, a new type of calendar. This is when you or when a company offers multiple services. So for example, there's a plumbing or a home services based business, and it offers plumbing, it offers carpentry, it offers electricians, and so on and so forth. Or maybe it's a hair salon in which there are multiple types of or multiple different types of services. So there are services for the hair, nails, fur, face, skin, and so on and so forth. So every sort of a business which has multiple things to offer and it can be grouped or categorized, you would use a services calendar. When you choose a services calendar, what you will do is you first of all you will make multiple different calendars, one for each service. So, for example, if you have four services within the nails category, you will have four different calendars. Then you will group them all within the same service, which is the nails. And what happens in the end result is when someone or maybe a user or a customer wants to book an appointment, he or she will go to your calendar page. They will select which group they want it from, and it will show up like a menu. So they will have the nails menu, and then all the available services. Then they will have the hair menu and all the available services. They can click one from it, and then they can book an appointment. So that is the services calendar. If anyone wants to understand how to do it or a more detailed introduction towards it on how to make it, they can let us know and we can help them out to set up that calendar. Apart from that, the simple calendars are only used when you have a fixed meeting location. So if you have a fixed meeting location, for example, a Google Meet or your own personal Zoom room, you will use that calendar. But the problem is, what will happen if multiple people decided to show up before their appointment because they have the link when they book the appointment? So what you may find is that multiple people are just popping in and out of the meeting instead of the only person that is supposed to be there. So what you will opt for is for the round robin. So the round robin calendar is used when you have multiple people for the same role. For example, you have multiple sales representatives and you have a lot of people coming in to book an appointment. Since not everyone will be booking from the same sales representative, what it will do is it will distribute the amount of appointments on the basis of the priority that you have set up. So, for example, you have a senior manager in sales, then you have the junior managers or assistant managers, or you have the sales representatives. For example, you have A, B, and C, and you have divided them equal, and you have three appointments coming up. So the first one will go and for the same time slot. So the first one will go to A, the second one will go to B, the third one will go to C automatically. So it will be equally divided, and you can set up the priority level as well. Then you have the class booking in which you can set up a webinar or you can set up a class which happens every week like this one, and you can have a recurring meetings on that. And then we have the collective booking in which if you have, for example, let's say you have a technical interview or you have a sales call or you have a potential client call. And in that meeting, you want multiple people to be a part of that meeting. So for example, one of our prospective clients wants to have a meeting with OverPower Marketing, and we want Oren to be on that call. We want Mr. Jeff, we want Owen, and we want me as well on that call. So only the time slot in which all four of us are individually available, only those spots will be shown on that particular calendar. And only when all four of us are free on that particular time slot, only those spots will be able to be booked. So that's the summary of these. But again, these are amazing things that are being offered by this software. And in order to understand, you'll have to go in, play around with it. You can customize it according to your brand colors and whatnot. You can assign multiple team members to it. Then we have new updates in which you can create a one-time link. So for example, you want to create a link for a calendar that expires after a certain amount of time, or it expires when once it has been used. So for example, for things that are of a limited edition, limited time period offers, coupons, discounts, or whatever offers you have for your business, you can create a one-time link. So that link expires when the time has been passed. So people can't go back into the previous emails and then try to rebook it. Then you have the organic booking by Google. So you can select the URL, the link ID of any particular calendar, and then assign it on your Google page. So it will show within your Google My Business information. So it will have your business name, your call icon, your location icon, and it will contain a calendar icon as well. So that is the basic summary of the calendars. Again, it's a very extensive thing, which if any one of you requires a little bit more detailed understanding, they can reach out to us. We can schedule a call, and then we can explain it within that particular meeting. So I hope that is little enough to understand. Now, coming back to the services calendar, we have groups, we have service menu, and you can see in front of you that you have rooms and equipments. The equipments part and the rooms part play when you have something to rent out. For example, if you're doing a yoga studio or if you are in the fashion industry and you want to host a meeting, a physical meeting, for example, in which you have multiple equipment. So you can select how many amount of spots you have. So for example, if it's a yoga studio and you have 20 yoga mats, you can select that you have 20 equipment and only 20 people will be able to book it at a time for that particular spot. So that summarizes an extensive topic within a short amount of time. I'm sure multiple people here might have questions about calendars. If so, please raise your hand and let me know so we can answer it. Well, if there are no questions, I would also say that each and every calendar also gives you the option of setting up your own form attached to it. So you can use the default form in which the fields are your first name, last name, phone number, business number, your email address. But if you want a more specific form, for example, if you are starting a calendar for applicants or for job interviews, you can have a field set up within the forms where people will have to upload their resume or upload any sort of an identity card. And without that card or without that resume, they will not be able to make the booking. So you can divide the people who are actually serious about it instead of the people who are just trying to show up without any information. So you can have multiple things within the calendar itself. You can also set up a payment option within the calendar. So for example, you are setting up a clause in which that people will have to book prior to it and pay prior to it instead of showing up and then trying to waive the fee or trying to get a freebie out of it. You can actually have that gateway in which people will have to pay first and then they will be able to book the appointment. So there are multiple things that you can do with the calendars. It all depends upon why you want it, what purpose are you trying to achieve it, and which type of calendar best fits your needs. So that sums it all up. And again, for all the team members or your staff members who you want to assign to those calendars, they will need to go into the sub account, into their profile, and set up their Google synchronization with the software. If they choose a Google Meet or a Zoom link, they will have to be connected to, it, and then they can be used for being assigned to any particular calendar. So, any questions? Hey, Donnie, you
Hey,
you
my
got
boss.
me.
Sorry, I'm in late. I'm doing a last minute shipment to Vegas for my wife for the show. So sorry about that.
Not a problem. We just finished the entire segment of the calendars, a very short run over about a very extensive topic, but we try to summarize it in a way that it will be easy to digest and be easy to understand. But it's been recorded, so you'll probably be seeing the recording later on.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So, any questions from anyone regarding calendars, how to set it up? Any questions regarding it?
Yeah, I'm kind of late coming in on the call, but I kind of briefly heard you covering setting up like group meetings on the calendar.
Mhm.
Uh, Usually, like in what type of like what kind of scenario would I be able to utilize that tool?
Well, if you have for group people, you have multiple options. The first option is if you want everyone within your team to be on that particular meeting or that particular call. So, for example, you have a potential client, and in that client meeting, you want the directors, you want the sales representatives, you want different kinds of people within that same meeting. So, you will opt for collective booking. What that would say is that whenever all four or five of those people that needs to be present during that meeting, only when all five of those are available, only those time slots will be shown on the map on the calendar. Made sense?
Okay. Yes.
The second one is if you have a multiple team of, for example, sales representatives, or maybe you have service people within the same service, and you have multiple people of that within the same profession. And instead of having one calendar for each and every one of them, you can have a consolidated calendar in which whenever someone wants to book an appointment on that calendar, it will go to whoever is free, whoever is available. So, for example,
Okay.
if you have four salespeople and you have four bookings coming up for the same time slot, for example, 1 p.m., the first one
Mhm.
will be booked to the person number one, the second will be booked to the person number two, and so on and so forth. So, it
Okay.
depends upon what your need is and what you're trying to fulfill. And you can
Mhm.
have groups and multiple calendars within the same calendar so that all of those will be synchronized. So instead of your people having to send out a different calendar link for each different thing. They can send out the same calendar, and the person who is opting to schedule a meeting can select which calendar or for what service they want to book an appointment for.
Okay. And is this like just for like if I was to do like a Zoom appointment or something like that?
It depends completely on you. If you want to have like a physical meeting location, you can set that up. If like having a physical address locations, if you want to do it on the phone, if you want to have like a phone call in which you explain it, you can have that set up. If you want a Zoom meeting, if you want a Google meeting, it entirely depends upon your need or what you're providing. So the options are available. Again, it only is easier to understand when you actually have a need in your mind, and that's when you're able to visualize it all. So, all right, so I'm trying to fulfill this need. How will that happen? And when you understand it, so you're able to connect the dots.
Okay.
I hope that answers your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mustafa.
Perfect. If you want further help in it, you can schedule a meeting with me or with Oren or with Owen, and we can actually show it to you how to set it up for you.
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna work on trying to get that scenario for myself so we can experiment it and see how it works out.
Absolutely. I'll be looking
Thank,
forward to having a meeting with you.
thank you for your time.
No problem. What about the others? Any questions, comments, concerns? Maybe something we have missed out on, or any questions unanswered? Well, so in case no one has any questions, the next meeting, the next week, the meeting's agenda is probably going to be about forms, how to create forms, how to set up forms, and all the type of fields. And it's a fun, interesting topic because you'll be able to use conditional logic. So I'm just trying to hype it up. Conditional logic, just as a brief introduction, would be if this happens, then that happens. Or if this doesn't happen, that shouldn't happen, something like that. So we will go into the detail of forms in the next week agenda, and I hope to see you all there. So yeah, that covers it all, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for being with us over here.